Welcome to my channel. My name is Tisha Janelle here on YouTube, or Tisha Janelle Newsom in my out of YouTube life. I am coming at you today with a video. I have my iPad here with my notes, otherwise I'll ramble along. But I am coming at you today with my channel mission video. I feel that this video is very necessary and important for someone that is attempting to do what I'm attempting to do, and also it is very important to keep me accountable and to give you an expectation of what is to be expected. I mean, that's what an expectation is, right? I am going to be implementing a Christian lifestyle channel here on YouTube. So a couple facts about me is that I am 24 years old, turning 25 in December, 21st to be exact. I am married to my wonderful husband since December 7th of 2019. I have an undergrad in biology and a master's in biomedical science. And I'm telling you all these things because this is my life and I'm making a lifestyle channel. So these are things that you should expect to see from me. Videos on pre-med, because I am pre-med. A lot of transparency with that, you'll see. Videos on my marriage, not personal videos, not things like that are sharing too much information, but rather videos that are helping me to become a better wife each and every day. Videos about hacks and tricks that I found that makes cooking or doing things like around the house much easier for me. And then also just me being 24 years old with the wisdom that I have, with the lessons learned that I have. I want to be an inspiration to you and also be help for you and allow you to follow my journey to becoming all that God has created me to be. I love the quote that says, "Be who you needed when you were younger." And this is not to sound boastful. This is not to be boastful at all. But I do think that having an example of what it's like, or someone that is where you want to be, or someone that is striving to be who you want to be, is very essential. Very, very essential. So if I would have had someone here on YouTube or in my personal life that would have given me an example of what it's like to live life as a Christ lover and also be young and married and really striving to be the best person that I can be, I feel that I would definitely have learned the lessons that I learned wouldn't have been taken so hard. Let's just put that like that. So the channel goals, it's to encourage, motivate, and promote Christian living. I find, I'm not, bashing anyone, but I do find that YouTube is very saturated with YouTubers that are not chasing Christ, not looking for Christ, not seeking Christ, not giving great examples of what it's like to really love him. There's a lot of Christian YouTubers, I've watched them for a long time, but I will say that if we're going to oversaturate in one regard, let's add more to the other regard. And there's no one out there like me. I haven't seen a YouTuber yet that is like me, and I probably won't, because God did not create us the same. So therefore, that's why I feel like it's essential for us as Christ lovers to get out there, get the word out there, really show what it's like to live day-to-day practical living of loving God, just to be a Christ lover and to give a practical example of what that looks like, because there are so many examples of just being perfect as being Christian. That's so not true. That's so not true. We are going to strive to be Christ-like, but that does not call for us to be perfect. And that gets me into another thing about this channel, is that God does not call the equipped. He equips the called. I know I'm making a lot of cute little sayings here, but that's all to say that I am not expected to be perfect in God's eyes. And if that's what God looks to me as, and if that's what God sees me as, then I'm going to strive to think like he thinks. And when I look at my content, or when I look at what makes me ill prepared as well as prepared, I'm not going to hold myself to this earthly standard of, you're not this enough to show me how to live Christian. Living Christian is just what I'm doing off camera, so there's no real problem other than the barriers that maybe you're setting for yourself or you're setting for me as watching me in my Christian lifestyle and passing judgment or whatever the case may be. So like I was saying before, we don't have to be perfect to just share the love of Christ and to do the things that he is calling us to do. I have had videos on my channel before, and you can probably clearly see that I'm not hiding anything from you guys. I felt like there was no real direction, so I wanted to give YouTube a break and come back to it if God ever called me back to it. But now I have such a desire, such a wanting and a longing to really be a resource for this generation. And when I say generation, I don't mean like this person born, these people born from this year to this year. I'm talking about a plethora of people that are thirsting for something, and what they're really thirsting for is the love of Christ, but they don't know what it is, or they think they're experiencing it, but it's not in depth. It's not what he's really calling us to be, or they have come to it but been turned away from it because of whoever is casting judgment or whatever earthly rule that they couldn't follow or whatever the case may be. But I'm here to tell you that the love of Christ is forgiving. The love of Christ is graceful. It's merciful. It's not to say that you can do anything you want, because there will be some things on this channel, or some things that you just will not see on this channel. I will not be doing certain things. I will not speak a certain way on this channel, because that is not my desire, and that's not Christ's desire for me. But I will say that if you have been turned away from the church, or if you have wanted to see God and just don't know how, or if you are looking for something and don't know what it is, I am here as an example to say that I was looking, and now I found what fulfilled me. It wasn't until I found the love of Christ that I was fulfilled. And I have been a Christian, Christian all of my life. And these are probably the people that you see as like Christian, all my life. But it wasn't until, college that I really started to dive into who he was for me and what he has done for me, and really find fulfillment in the love of Christ. And I want you guys to be able to see that and to hear that and to know that and to see a practical way to do that. Welcome to my TED Talk. Thank you for coming. But I wanted to get that out and to really just say that that's the #1 goal on this channel, to give practical examples of what it looks like to just seek God and to live by his standard. That does not paint the picture of me being perfect and what he wants me to do all the time. There will be times that I fall and you will see sometimes that I will fall, but at the end of the day, to be an example of what Christian living is. And then the second channel goal is to be a resource or a bridge for those who are searching or just found the love of Christ. To see that there is practical ways to love him, practical ways to be with him, practical ways to seek him, to be a resource to you, to talk you through these things, to make these videos that bring you back to Christ, that overarching bring you back to Christ for him to get glorified. And then #3 is to break barriers and stereotypes of what it means to be a lover of Christ. There's been people that come to me from my high school, from my middle school. There was people in my undergrad. There are people in my master's program that I just finished that just kind of tell me that I'm giving a practical example of what it means to follow God, and they've never seen that before. And I'm not being boastful in any regard, but there is so many stereotypes out there. There are so many barriers out there that exist that's, over or undersimplified what it means to be a lover of Christ. Live how you want and ask for grace later and you got it, And while that is the very untactful way to say something that is true about Christ, is that he is the ultimate sacrifice. But that is not what Christian living is. Christian living is constantly, when you become a lover of Christ, you want to know more about him. And as you learn more about him, your desires start to align with who he is and what he has for you. So the things that you used to want to do, or things that your flesh, like my body here, is wanting me to do, in my soul, I'm not going to want to do these things because I know Christ. I'm being sanctified. I know him enough to know that I shouldn't do these things and I shouldn't even want to, you know? So it's that stereotype that exists. And then there's the stereotype of just follow these rules, do these rules, walk in this line, wear a skirt all the time, do this, do that, excuse me? There is a such thing as the law, but no one could fulfill the law. No one, no person with flesh can fulfill this law. God always seen that there was a lack of something. So he knew, and he had already ordained this before the beginning of time. Like before. For there to be a ultimate sacrifice, and the ultimate sacrifice is Jesus Christ. I am not giving a sermon here. I'm not preaching right now. I'm not doing none of that because I'm not a preacher. I'm not called to that. You probably won't see no sermons. But I will say that to explain what this is and this, to break this stereotype, you know, you kind of have a give a understanding of what it is. The law is important and it exists, but the love of Christ and Jesus Christ has overcome, and he has granted us the ability to talk to God. I can literally talk to God right now. He hears me. He knows what I'm saying. He knows how I'm feeling. He knows my heart. And it's because of Jesus Christ that he did that. I said a lot to say that there is that stereotype that we gotta do all of these things. There is something about a law with Christianity, and that is not 100% true either. On this channel, you'll see me fall short, but you will see that it is me seeking Christ and living abundantly, that I will look back to Christ to know that, hey, I messed up, or hey, I fell short, or hey, I was in this valley, but it is God who is in control, and I should continue to seek him. I should continue to want to know him. So that is the sum of the third channel goal. And then lastly, the outro of these videos will be let's go live life abundantly. And I wanted to give a brief explanation of what that is before I just started saying it and you're like, okay, what does that mean? But anyway, John 10:10b, which is the second part of the verse, to summarize, or to, summarize what scripture says in that regard, is that John 10:10b says that Christ came to give us life and life more abundantly. So that's what I'm referring to when I say let's go live life abundantly. When you really look at the depth, and I challenge you to really biblically study the word abundantly, because a lot of people think like, oh, I know what abundant is. It's
just like a plethora of things. Like God is just gonna give us a lot of things if I love him, and if I know Christ and blah blah blah.
No. When you're looking at those things, it's easy to look at it in a material stance. But Christ came to give us abundance in our hearts, in our souls, in our minds through the Holy Spirit. He came to give us the fruits of the Spirit, the love, the peace. He came to do all of these things for us, the joy. When we're living life abundantly, it's not the absence of things that are bad. Like, Christ didn't come for us to have a perfect life in our eyes, like to get these job promotions, to do all of these things, to get everything we possibly want that's good, blah blah blah. He came that if there exists, or when there exists things that are not good in our lives, that we have that joy, that everlasting joy of knowing God is in control. And then also that peace, that earthly peace is fleeting, it's temporary, it's constantly changing, but the peace of God is constant in knowing that I will remain in this storm because I know that the outcome is going to work for my good. I will remain in this storm because I know that Christ is working for me, and he's working for my good. God is working for my good. These are things that we should have, and Christ is giving and offering us through his sacrifice. So when I say life more abundantly, that is the goal. We want to live life more abundantly, to constantly seek God, even in the storms, even in the things that are not what we want for ourselves, but are in place. I've rambled on quite enough. I hope this video has given you an understanding of who I am and also what the mission of this channel is. Thank you so very much for tuning into this video and making it to the end of it. Let's go live life abundantly.